Hello everyone, I am Akash Chawla and today's my presentation topic is exploring archetypal themes in Game of Thrones. So these are some academic details and starting with the introduction of the series Game of Thrones. So Game of Thrones is one of the popular American fantasy series uh, which is one of the famous and adapted from George R.R. Martin's bestseller novels, A Song of Fire and Ice. It is one of the highest rated IMDb series and under the production of the HBO Entertainments. And Game of Thrones is American fantasy which is created by David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. This particular series is set in a fictional place of Westeros, in which the 7 noble families are there who are at the war to have a rule on Iron Throne. So it is a series also around the mythical world, like a cracked mirror reflection of a medieval Europe. In this series, this series revolves around the 3 main noble families: the Stark families, Targaryen family, and the Lannister family. So the series is renowned for its critical acclaim and widespread cultural influence. And as the series left the indelible mark on American television and the fantasy genre due to its intricate characters. These series have a numerous characters, and they are also complicated and ambiguous characters. So there are this series is full of archetypes. So I have only taken two archetypes, hero and anti-hero archetypes, in which I will talk about the 5 major characters from this series who falls under that archetypes. So what is archetypal criticism? I will not go much deeper into that because it is already discussed many in previous presentation. So Daniel Russell Brown in his article, A Look at Archetypal Criticism, tries to define the archetypal criticism that it views the literary work as tapping into universal mythic patterns, symbolic images, and archetypal character that arise from the collective unconscious shared by all humans across the culture. In the article, Brown also refers to what Walter K. Gordon says, that the basic contention of the archetypal criticism is that literary expression is an unconscious product of the collective experience of the entire species. That when writer is trying to write any literary work, in his mind, it is already been there. In his subconscious, in his or her subconscious mind, there are archetypal images are there. So whatever writer is writing, it is not his own expression, but the expression of the cultural past that is already in store of his subconscious mind. So major supporter of the archetypal criticism is Maud Botkin, who wrote the archetypal patterns in the poetry by the Jung's theory of the collective unconsciousness. And this archetypal criticism is populated by the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung in his work Archetypes and Collective Consciousness. And Canadian critic Northrop Frye also elaborated archetypal criticism in categories like romance archetypes, comedy archetypes, and tragedy archetypes. So Carl Jung is also hailed as the father of the archetypal criticism, and he says that essentially an unconscious content that is altered by becoming conscious and by being perceived, in which he says that these archetypal images are stored in our unconscious mind. That whenever a writer is writing anything, that unconscious image, that conscious image comes to the surface level of the writer, and whatever writer is right, it is whatever archetypes that writer writes is not pure. It is become distorted by being perceived. And in later part of the article, Brown also discuss about the strength and weaknesses of the archetypal criticism. So talking about the strength, that by doing archetypal criticism to the text, we can easily understand the narrative of the text. It becomes easier for us to understand the text. And for the weakness, the archetypal criticism makes the character expression diminished, and also it does the oversimplification of the character. So what is hero archetypes? So Joseph Campbell in his work The Hero with the Thousand Faces talks about these hero archetypes, and there are various categories. There are 6 categories in which hero archetypes is categorized. The hero archetype is one of the oldest and popular and one of the common archetypes in our society. The hero archetype is literary character that is all good, and he or she will save people and do the right thing. There are 6 major archetypes in hero archetypes in literature. There are first one is epic hero. Epic hero's famous example is the Trojan Wars hero Achilles. Tragic hero, tragic hero's famous example is King Lear, and classic hero Everyman, Byronic hero, and the anti-hero. According to Joseph Campbell, a hero can go beyond his personal limits as well as limit imposed upon him by his culture. Heroes should be physically strong as well as they should be morally strong as well. The hero should not be morally decayed person. And further, Joseph Campbell says that the standard path of the mythological adventure of hero is a magnification of the formula represented in the rites of passage. The hero's journey includes the three stages. First one is the separation, in which hero separates from his loved ones or his families, and then comes the enlightenment part, in which his journey as a hero begins, in which he counters sufferings and he is sometimes at the war with some enemies as well. And then he returns from this voyage. And after returning, hero always seen as share his heroic tales to the people. And in the series Game of Thrones, there are two major characters who falls under this hero archetype, which is Jon Snow and Daenerys Targaryen. So first we will see Jon Snow as the evolving hero. The Jones, like many mythical heroes, many mythical archetypes hero, the Jon Snow's birth is a remain mystery to us. Her father, Eddard Stark of Winterfell, does not reveal her mother to us, like who is Jon Snow's mother. So he is a bastard son, and for that reason, he is not accepted within the family. And Jon Snow becomes the member of Night's Watch. This becoming the member of Night's Watch involves the watchful eyes on the enemies on the wall, and which also means to the sacrifice of the marriage, property, and children and titles. He is beautiful and honorable. We witness his personal isolation and his first journey from the home to the wall. Like many heroes, he embodies both noble qualities and imperfection. And he also, for his for his fulfillment of purpose and beauty, he also rejects the love of the Ygritte. And he once seen as escaping death. In one episode, he's seen as the dead, and the next episode, by some black magic, he is revived again. So this revival of hero is considered as the archetypal image of the hero. Jon Snow's character in the Game of Thrones fits the hero's archetype in the traditional Campbellian sense. So the creator of the series, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, says about the Jon Snow that Jon Snow tries to live with honor while knowing that often gets his family members murdered. So this next one is the Daenerys Targaryen. She is one of the complex character of the series, and she can also be interpreted from the various other archetypes as well, such as mother archetype, the caregiver archetype, and the ruler archetype as well, because she is also aspired to become the king of the Iron Throne. So her journey begins after he let her husband Khal Drogo to kill her cruel brother, making her next in the line to the throne of Westeros. And she also been given to the supernatural aid from the dragons. We in the series find that she's in controlling of the nature. She is possessed by she can possess the ability to manipulate dragons as well. So she is connected with the supernatural being, which also connect her as a hero. And she is also advised by the wise old man Jorah Mormont, providing assistance in her journey, unfitting Campbellian's concept. So, despite facing countless challenges, betrayal, and loss, Daenerys persists in her quest to reclaim her throne. One other character is Arya Stark, which this is also one of the complex and ambiguous characters. We do not know whether she is a hero or a villain. So Arya Stark in the series is known as seen as a tomboy. She does not want feminine pursuit like getting ready and all that makeup things, but rather she is fascinated towards the machinery and weaponry. We can see time and again her to practice weaponry and combat skill. She sharpens her combat skill as well, and she also received the prophecy that she will be the savior of the human. She will be the savior of the humankind. On the other hand, there are some anti-heroic qualities of the Arya as well. So First one is the leaving the hound to die. In his journey, she was accompanied by the hound, but she leaves her to the die, and she also enjoys torturing and enjoys killing as well. But at the end of the Game of Thrones, there is a pretty solid argument to be made that Arya is literally the greatest hero the world has ever known, because she was the one who ended the war between the Night Kings and the humans. Another character is Tyrion Lannister. It is also one of the ambiguous characters. I can say that it is one of the most loved anti-heroes by the audience of this series. So Tyrion Lannister as a nuanced figure who straddled both heroic and anti-heroic archetypes. This, at the same time, he presents the heroic archetypes, and at the same time, it is anti-heroic as well. So his journey parallels the archetype of hero's quest, because he also wanted to become the king of Westeros. At the same time, he is honorable, he is honest, intriguing, and at the same time, he is also a womanizer, a drunkard, and a deception. He also deceives her family members, also contributes to decline of the hero archetypes as well, because in hero image in our mind is like of that hero should be physically strong, but here the Tyrion Lannister is a dwarf, so indulging in his lust, drunkenness, and deception. He manipulates people, situation for his own gain, even his family members as well. So he embodies the very flawed nature of the human beings. The last one is the Cersei Lannister as an anti-hero. Lawrence Saran, in her article, says that she is the TV's one of the greatest female antagonists or the anti-hero. She is also vengeful, manipulative, cruel, and has no sympathy for the less fortunate, even if they are in her own family. Time and again, we see in the series that she is constantly plotting against her enemy, and also plotting against even his family members as well. And she was also engaged. In illicit relationship between her with her brother as well. So Cersei is a rare example of the captivating, complex anti-hero character who appears to be a woman. While we see that anti-heroes that are male, we can see that they are loved by the audience, but it is not the same case for the women as well. They are not. They are often hated because what they are. So here, not the case with the Cersei Lannister. It is she is time and again captivates the audience by his cunning desires, and she is one of the anti-hero of the series. So in conclusion, the series Game of Thrones contains substantial amount of the various archetypes it contains, and the ambiguous ones are also there. And the series has reached a cultural importance and impact that goes beyond its medieval fantasy backdrop. And exploring archetypes in the series help us to understand the cultural importance and the broader cultural impact. These are some references, and thank you.
So, Akash, my question is: how is the archetype of dwarfism commonly portrayed and utilized in popular culture?
So, archetype of dwarfism is often portrayed as a negative connotation. If we look at the folklore of the Scotland and England, there is a dwarf named Goblin. So they are seen as a mischievous characters, and all. And if we take another example, that is the Tolkien's novel series, the Hobbit, and the other one is the Lord of the Rings, in which the dwarfs people presented as good and bad all. And if we look in the Indian context, then we can see that there was show in the sub TV that Hootergu, in which the dwarf character was a kind of a jester, and the other one is the other one. Okay, so I have forgot the other one, but these are the dwarfism commonly portrayed in the popular culture.
So, Akash, my question is: in your opinion, which character of Game of Thrones best represents the hero archetype, and why?
in my opinion, the character of the Jon Snow best represents the hero archetype because it fulfills all the criteria given by the Joseph Campbell to be a hero. Because if you look at the Arya Stark, she does at last kills the Night King, but she does not fulfill other criteria by the Joseph Campbell as fulfilled by the Jon Snow's character. So, in my point of view, Jon Snow is one of the classical hero of the Game of Thrones.